This is dried. We're gonna fill that up with some dust. Take a little bit more. Dun, 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 dun. Dirty. So now we have like the hole is completely filled up. And we're just gonna leave it like that and work on the next one. It's too much. Gonna let that dry. All right. In the meantime, I drilled this hole, and I am also looking at what I'm gonna do with the backpack. I really want to magnetize it. But a pin might also be something that, I don't know, magnets would be, you have a little bit more wiggle room basically with a magnet if the magnet is strong enough and big enough. And a pin, you really need to be super precise. Let's see. What have we done? This does not have to be pinned or glued. This also does not have to be pinned or glued. That has to be. You know what? We can start on the mandibles. Just glue those in place. Those need a putty as well to fix the seam line. Maybe I can do it with some baby powder, but probably not. So these are the mandibles. definitely need to fix up some of that seam line. It's not a very solid fit. Does require some touch-up work. It's not the end of the world, but because it's a small part, yeah, definitely need to putty that. I am going to grab some baby powder because the resin is a little bit too the dust from the resin is a little bit bigger than the baby powder, so I'm just gonna use the baby powder. It's a much finer powder. I just want it for I just want the glue to have something to hold on to. Oh, we're gonna rough up the surface a little bit. Just rough it up a little bit. To kind of talk about other artists that are doing Predators, Matt Morozek from Matt Models Customs recently did a samurai, a shadow elixir from Narin, and fortunate enough for him, he didn't have to deal with the mandibles because the kit came with one head, and it was attached to the upper body, so he didn't have to go through the mandibles, but he did have to do with the deal with the dreadlocks. I really enjoyed watching Matt work on that. Just always appreciate other artists and other kit builders and painters to share their work on YouTube, or he also does a lot of live streaming on Facebook. I really enjoyed watching that. Always, always nice to see other artists do the same type of work that I'm doing. I just wish that Joe Dunaway, Joe, if you're watching ever, maybe you should kind of consider doing some tutorial videos or do some classes, man. I mean, I'd really love to kind of see what you're doing, learn from your work. Joe Dunaway is always like he's been the Predator master painter basically. He's worked on a lot of projects. I think for Sideshow and Prime. I think he worked for Prime One as well. Did some work for the Predator stuff. So we're gonna just want the glue to grab onto that a little bit so I can start filling the gaps with some powder and make that seal basically better. So I'm gonna do really gently put some super glue in that seam right there and just then I'm gonna put some powder on it. I'm gonna push the powder into the seam so that the glue kind of solidifies that. Kind of fills up the seam line. And if I'm lucky, if I do it correctly, I won't have to putty it, but need something sharp. I want to grab a toothbrush. Is that the one? Yep. Kind of get that dust out of there. So you still see the seam line, but it's very minimal. I might touch that up later. Just for now, I'm just looking at filling the seam line with glue so that I know that it's secure all the way. And right here we still have a pretty significant gap. Put some glue. I put some glue in there, and I want that to flow slowly into that gap. And then I am going to put some baby powder in there and just be fast but be precise. And then you're gonna kind of work that into that gap. And now you will never see that gap right there. You will never see it. When that's like 100% solidified, you won't see it. And I got now I'm probably gonna touch it up a little bit with some putty or some clay or whatever. Come on. God damn it. Touch it up a little bit after. Clean it. You have to wash it anyways because you want to get that excess dust off. Just has a tendency to kind of stick to everything. but the inside looks really well done. I would not touch that. I would just leave it like that. Alright, so our first head, or our masked head, is done drying. And it is a perfect fit. There we go. Seam line is pretty much non-existent. So we're gonna fill up that hole right there. Alright, I'm gonna fix that up. See, there's a lot of space. I don't want it to get knocked loose or anything, so I just want to fill that up. I am going to use the resin powder for that. Get a new vial of super glue. I don't know how it is for other countries, but I've noticed that just general kind of hobby supplies are hard to get. I've seen it with paint, I've seen it with hobby glue. So I was forced to kind of use a different type of glue than I normally use, which reacts a little bit different than I'm used to. But yeah, the world right now is just the shipping. Shipping takes a long time. Sometimes it goes real fast. Other times it just takes forever. And now we have a perfect filled up pinhole. Ta-da! And then this head also, seam line is almost non-existent except for this little area, but dreadlocks will cover that. So that is fixed up. Don't have to touch that anymore. Just do a final check. Yeah, I'm very happy with that. And let's continue with the other mandible. I'm gonna do a slight sanding right here in the cracks. Now this definitely does not have the best fit. Definitely need to fill up that crack right there. That is a pretty significant seam line, but that's okay. we're just gonna fix that right up. So filled up or touched up that little area. Just made sure that the glue filled in that gap right there, so that I know that it's 100% connecting. Let's do the inside. Yep. Let it flow inside the crack. See, there we go. You see that where it's kind of glycering or where it's kind of wet looking, that's the super glue, and that'll slowly harden out now that it's powdery. I wouldn't touch that anymore. I don't have to touch that up. Yeah, don't touch it anymore. That looks good enough. Now we only have to like the outside to contend with, and you can see that there is a little bit of a height difference, but I'm going to fix that. Either the super glue will take care of that, or I have to kind of putty it. Well, we'll see what is the best kind of option. No. I will sharpen the stick every now and again so that I can get a clean point again. drop some. Gonna try and use the super glue to kind of fix that height difference, but I'm not sure that it's going to work. Now I want to be careful with sanding because there is tiny detail there that I don't want to sand away. Me, yeah. Sugar, sugar. fool, I was one step ahead. I had to let go cause I was over my head. That girl. So for now, we at least have it all attached. We have it touched up a little bit so that for the final kind of inspection and the final round of touch-ups, if I get lucky, I don't have to putty anything, and the super glue and the powder was enough. But you never know, you just want to double check before you start painting.